In this video, I'm going to talk about why reading can only do so much for you. So, we read to learn things. Sometimes we read for entertainment. We read novels. We read to uncover a story, unravel the characters' emotional changes, their setbacks, and how they overcome those setbacks, and the transformation that they make by the end of the story, both in terms of the concrete goal that they initially strive for and the actual intrinsic emotional motivated growth that they encounter. That's the thing that actually matters. um, but there's also nonfiction, which is what I used to read a lot. Like, I have a ton of nonfiction books in my room now that I used to read, and I used to read them to learn things like how to be efficient, how to be the best entrepreneur I could possibly strive to be, and the possible potential principles that I could apply within my life that would yield the best possible outcome for me spiritually. And I have to say that out of a lot of those books, not many of them really did much for me, because while I did have the knowledge, I didn't have the experience, and the experience is actually what matters. When you don't have experience and you're only learning the theory of the thing, well, that's kind of taking the substance out of all of the presentation and show that's being done by the author. The author has gained value from what they know because they've experienced it, possibly, or maybe they've just transcribed it from somewhere else, in which case that point is null. But most of the time, the author hopefully has experienced um, the thing that they're writing about, and they have derived value from it. You're not going to derive that same value if you don't actually go out there and experience it yourself. Now, obviously, going out there and experiencing it yourself is easier said than done, and a lot of people aren't going to do that. But if you truly commit yourself to a goal and you truly intend to give it your all, then you're going to get something out of it. Now, this might not be the goal itself, it might not be the rewards from the goal, but it might be something just as valuable as getting the goal, if not more so, because you learn something that is intended to be worth the effort of what you put in. So, for instance, I um, tried to get clients for a social media marketing business, and I've been trying this for the last 2 years. 2 years ago, I made upwards of 100 cold calls a day, and after the whole summer I thought I would have at least maybe 5 or 6 clients. I had zero clients by the end of the summer, and I was extremely stressed out, and I was burned out beyond belief. I was having heart palpitations, digestive issues, panic attacks, and all sorts of mental neuroses as well, like depression and anxiety, all of that stuff, especially since I had to continue up the work with college and I hadn't given myself any time to rest. And it got worse and worse until I realized I just have to take my foot off the gas pedal. And eventually I realized the unconscious processes that were contributing to this desperation of needing to continue the growth. And it was because of a lack of self worth. Now, had I not started all of that stuff, I wouldn't have bumped into the hurdles that I did, and I wouldn't have had any reason to um, learn how to regulate my work ethic and temper my expectations and maintain a concise awareness of myself and my own insecurities. And because I went through all of that, I have went on an intellectual development journey which has carried me probably far beyond that of most normal people. And I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet here, but I'm a lot more conscious than a lot of people would realize. And it's only because I went through that, because I gave it my all and I failed, and I tried it again the next year and I failed again, which was the thing that taught me how to um, figure out what was driving me unconsciously, and the fact that I needed to address this thing. Now, I don't need to have this thing to validate my self worth, because it's not really a case of where, oh, I know I'm valuable, or I have willed the value of myself into existence intrinsically. It's not about that. It's not like, oh, I think I'm suddenly valuable. No, it's I realize that I have been thinking that I am not valuable, and that's the truth of it. Whether you were valuable or not doesn't matter. It's not even up for consideration. But the fact is, there was an inner critic that you weren't addressing, and whether that critic is true or not, it doesn't really matter, because you need to realize it. Whether it's something good about yourself or bad about yourself, whether you have a positive attribute or a really negative one, like that critic, you need to realize it. And I've kind of gone off on what seems like a tangent, but it kind of proves my point in that had I read a book about somebody who went through all of that, and um, even in the case of you watching this video now, hearing about somebody who had to validate their self worth with external accomplishments, you're not going to necessarily pick up information from that that's going to help you, because you need to experience whatever your own major fault is. And I'm not saying fault as in this is something that you shouldn't have, it's something that you should be aware of. There is no perfect goodness that you can achieve. There's only a whole insight into yourself and all of the traits about you, good and bad. And with reading alone, this is not going to do any favors for you. Now, I'm not saying don't read or anything like that. Like, I'm still reading Freud now at the moment, The Interpretation of Dreams, and um, I'm gaining some insight from it, and I think it's speeding up my intellectual development a bit, just as Jung did. But the difference is, I don't completely identify with all of the behaviors that are encouraged by that book, which, by the way, doesn't encourage many behaviors. But I don't identify with all of the self help advice from it. Um, I just become aware of myself, because really you are the world, and you can't really gain true insight just from listening to somebody else yammer on about something, even me now. So yeah, that's basically why I believe that reading alone isn't going to do you much good. Now, it could be a help, and it could push you along the path of your insightful development, which definitely has for me. But ultimately, you cannot just monkey see, monkey do your way through life. You have to come up with your own ways of thinking about things. You have to modify your own lifestyle to your way of naturally living. Like, I have to be inside a lot of the time. I have to be away from towns, away from large crowds, away from loud noises, because I'm an introverted person who doesn't enjoy mixing around too much. So I need to adapt that to myself. Thanks for watching.